This is Sky Blues Extra.
Wow. Good afternoon. Welcome to Sky Blues Extra, sponsored by Shortland Horn, Coventry's leading estate agents. And what a few difference a couple of days makes. The Sky Blues coming out on top, not only coming out on top, but a decent performance. And, that's what we were all crying out for after Friday's debacle, let's be honest. Tom, you must be pretty much over the moon. And we broke our voodoo.
Finally, it had to happen at some point, didn't it, Dean?
It did, yeah.
I was starting to get worried.
It was our fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something had to change. No, so it's a really big win today. I think, Friday was just awful, wasn't it? Really disappointing, and just great that we went out there and put in a solid performance and got a huge 3 points, massive 3 points at this stage of the season.
It was squeaky bum time, wasn't it, at stages today? But it shows a sort of commitment and fight to see the result out in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously they got one back. Awful mistake from Fads, but to sort of keep going and get the third was brilliant. So because I was worried when that one went in.
Yeah, let's crack straight into some comments because we've got loads coming in, obviously. Buzzing about the result. Connor with us again. Good to have you along with us, Connor. And we have hope again. Great performance. Thought the back is the way forward. Although I kind of feel like we played with five there today. McFads is out of his depth, though, surely. What do you think, fellas? From my point of view, I thought Fads, until that mistake, had a really, really good game. And then he made that mistake, which is obviously comical. And you should be making them at this level for sure. But you could see that dented his confidence then because he wasn't getting into those tackles in the last 10, 15 minutes. But I still feel much more assured when he's there at the back.
Yeah, I think over the whole game, I think Fads did all right, and he's a decent enough player, but he just has that mistake in him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's given away a lot of penalties and mistakes throughout the season. So I don't think he's necessarily out of his depth, but he is prone to those mistakes which have cost us at times. So, but he's one of those players with a question mark over him in the summer, isn't he? Whether we keep him, I think he was last summer as well to an extent. But possibly we'll need to get some other centre halves in as well.
Listen, I don't think that result today sort of papers over the cracks in this team. There's still going to have to be work done now towards the end of the season. We still need to find another 6 points, I feel, from somewhere to be absolutely assured safety. And looking further ahead to the summer, I think a clear out is probably going to be needed if we're going to progress in this division. It's as simple as that, really. Some more comments. Glenn W, just simply yes. Danny with us again. Blue love hearts. Love to see that. Reese, huge win. Credit to Robbins. He made changes and the players responded. Kieran, the God, is back. Great to see Matty Godden back amongst the goals and a superb performance. Worked his socks off at the top end of the pitch, even with that injury looming over him. I kind of had my head in my hands when he was on the floor. I don't know about you, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. It was like deja vu, wasn't it? How many times we feel like we've seen that this season?
And I just looked at Twitter and everyone was like, "Oh my God, we're rushing back again too soon. We're rushing him back," but he pulled through.
Yeah, he pulled through fine in the end. A brilliant performance from him. His hold-up play was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, even a sort of not quite fully fit Matty Godden is still a really effective player in that team. And with obviously Walker alongside him, I thought it just worked perfectly today, really.
I think they linked up really, really well. And Callum O'Hare, and Godden have a really good relationship and understanding on the pitch as it was. And throwing Walker into the fold, I thought the three of them did really, really well today.
Yeah. I thought O'Hare was excellent today. His link-up play was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so shush to one of the trolls on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You love to see it. Largy, God, that feels so much better. Hopefully the moaners will shut up for a bit now. It's a much more positive outlook. Obviously, with a positive result, it comes part and parcel, obviously, with that. But I think the big thing from Friday was the performance, wasn't it? And the desire, no real grit, no real determination. But I think from the off today, we were more aggressive from that offset. The hunger, determination was there. That's what we want to see from a Coventry City team. Okay, we don't have the quality at times. That showed a lot during this season, but all we can ask for is to give 110% from every player.
Yeah, no, exactly that. I think, if we can show hunger and desire for the rest of the season, we will pick up enough points, because there's definitely winnable games. It's definitely all to play for.
Absolutely. Nige saying what a difference a day makes, or more accurate, 7 players makes. Aaron Shilton, we look so much better without players who look like they've won a competition to play for us. But where was that competition? I want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
And it just shows that we're only effective with 2 up front. Yeah, I mean, the 2 up front, it was a talking point I was going to bring up later on in the show, but let's talk about it now. We definitely look a different side with 2 up top, don't we? It gives an out ball, an extra out ball, and an extra man at the top end of the field to try and win that second ball. And not only that, if you have James and Kelly there today, who are both comfortable in possession of the football, that gives you another further option. So it just adds more options into clearing the ball. I know Fads didn't do it for obviously for their goal, but for us in this division with the squad we have, I think that's the way we need to play.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, we went through a phase, didn't we, where we didn't have too many options to play it. I think we had Biamu, who was pretty much our only striker for a good while. But I think certainly when you've got a fit Godden and Walker, then for me, it's definitely the system to play. So, yeah.
Sure. Avin Jandu, great reaction after Friday's performance. Kelly just had so much reassurance, especially with Eccles coming in for his first start. Thought McCallum was man of the match. Yeah, I mean, it was a really good performance from both sort of wing backs today. Obviously, Josh Eccles coming into the side after a really good cameo performance on Friday. Obviously, not in his preferred position, Tom, but I think he put in a decent display at right back.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. Yeah, a couple of sort of wobbles in the game, but
a bit eager
overall,
at times, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But I thought overall a good performance, and obviously out of position. So, I don't think anyone really knew that he could play there. So.
It turned into prime David Beckham with 3 outstanding crosses as well. Just didn't have anyone in the box to finish them off, unfortunately.
He had that one as well, didn't he, down the right where he had loads of space and he should have had a shot really, to be honest. Yeah. And he sort of didn't cross it or shoot and kind of straight to the keeper. But...
Yeah, it was quite odd, that one, because both players he was looking to pick out were marked. And like you say, the shot was probably the better option.
Yeah, exactly. Should have gone for it.
Ross not on the show today, so he's probably fuming, but huge win. Great fight from the lads, took the game to them and got what we deserved. I mean, Ross was pretty down in the dumps after Friday. I think we all were, weren't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It's what a positive result does for our well-being, for sure. Max is also with a superb win. Russ, better team performance, lot busy in all forward areas. Dave, Wilden City and Mark Robbins and Mr. Watch SkyBluesExtra on Friday. Hope so. I think Mark Robbins is an avid watcher.
Get it up on the team bus.
He watches it back when he gets home with a pint or so. Danny reckons Garcares can get some goals. Really, really nice finish today. It was quite a nervous few minutes, wasn't it, after they pulled one back? But Walker to O'Hare, I thought O'Hare's touch was superb.
Perfect.
I mean, the ball was behind him, brought it under control, just laid it on a plate for Victor, and he couldn't really miss, could he?
Yeah, no, and it was a lovely move, but it was still, one of those finishes that people can waste. But a lovely, lovely finish from him, wasn't it? Going across the keeper, perfect way to seal it.
We'll come back to the comments in a second. Obviously, keep your comments coming in. We'll get the best on show, and you can also join us in the studio. The links are on Twitter and Facebook. Just follow the links to the studio. You'll be held in a waiting room, a bit like Glenn, who are going to get involved in the show now in a second. And there he is. There's Glenn. Glenn, good to have you with us. A win for the Sky Blues. You must be absolutely buzzing.
It was just it was talk show that when they give that goal away.
You thought it was back to prime Coventry City, didn't you?
Yeah,
we're going to do it the hard way.
2-2 all over, and Rotherham nick a result against Wickham. But no, today was the frustration with us. We go from Friday to that, and that was everything that Friday wasn't. Godden is far more than a goal scorer. Like what he said earlier, his link-up play was superb, and he leads the press. He seemed to get the best out of Walker. I think that was the best Walker's played in a long time for us. I think it's the best O'Hare's played. Yeah.
It just looked all up for the fight different from Friday, wasn't it, Glenn? They all looked up for it from the first whistle, which was completely opposite on Friday.
Yeah, and then we bullied Bristol City, which I think they never really looked like a Nigel Pearson side, which you think his sides will get stuck in, and they didn't really get stuck into us till they were 2-0 down. I spoke to you on Twitter before, Dean, about Eccles' right wing back, but I actually think it worked because Eccles is what we need in that position. He's a good footballer. He's got a good engine. He gets stuck in, and I think he's probably. I don't want to hammer Costa, but I think the Costa at the moment, especially away from home. I think he can get played. He can get exploited, and I think he did really well. I think the shame was the chance he had where you said it when he went for the cross. He can hit a ball. I don't know. He just didn't lever it and go for goal because he probably would have forced the keeper into a save. But I just think we looked far more balanced. That's the best Sam McCallum's played for us in a long time. I don't really think Kelly. The game seemed to go by without noticing Kelly. He didn't have that much work to do, but what he did well. I think James was really good. He got that sort of little like golf club chip ball where he just chips over to the fence to get people to run onto it. I think the only mistake he made was playing the ball back to Faz when he could have just played it away. There was no need to play the ball back to Faz. I just think it was a bit.
I was going to ask you about that goal because you've pointed out Fads to be at fault a few times this season, but you're going to go with James at fault there rather than Fads.
I don't think there's a need to play the ball back to him. And then I think once Faz has got the ball, he's played it back at an angle. I can't remember. I think he's tried to play it back to Morosi's better kicking foot. And that's why he's played it into the angle where Wells got it. I think I don't know whether Morosi's left foot or not. I can't remember. But if he played it back to Morosi's right foot, I don't think Wells would have had as an easier run as he had. I just think it was a bit of a... I expect a bit better of an experience, both of them, to be fair. I think James shouldn't be passing it back, and I think Faz should do better on it. But I thought Pass was really good. I just hope there's nothing too serious with Pine, because I think I've heard he's got lots of personal issues. But I thought Pass was really good out of position. I thought he was really solid. Ostergaard was really good. I thought Gorquez took his goal well. It was a really good finish.
Would you say two up top now is the way to go for the rest of the season? I suppose it doesn't necessarily have to be Godden and Walker, does it? But two up top.
I think I'd be next week's. I don't know whether you try and nick a point and you don't risk Godden and keep it for the Rotherham game, because I think it will cause Rotherham some problems. And you give Gorquez a run out, which he probably deserves on those two cameos. But
hasn't that been our issue though? When we've tried to sit back and sort of get away with a point, we just haven't turned up and haven't been able to pull it out the bag and go with that tactic, and we've just looked really, really poor. I kind of feel like if we go for it and like we did today, we'll get more than maybe a point at times.
Yeah, I think probably with Godwin, I think the is, do you risk him on Saturday against Bournemouth and he picks an injury up and you don't have him for Rotherham? And I think we need him for the Rotherham game. So you could play Gorquez, and I don't think you're sacrificing that much. I think Bournemouth are a team you can have a go at. I know they've hit a bit of form, but they've dropped some points to teams you wouldn't imagine them to do. And then it puts a lot of pressure on Rotherham. No, really, they need to get some more result against Huddersfield. Otherwise, it's all on their home games, and their home form absolutely shocking at the moment.
Were they at home today versus?
Yeah, Wickham. Yeah,
Wickham, as it shows.
I fancy Wickham, but just Wickham might get some. But I think it's Blackburn down at the moment. I think it's one from possibly those to go now. I think Preston are safe. But today's the frustration, because we could turn in another QPR performance next Saturday at Bournemouth, and that's the problem. That's the frustration. When we play like that, we're a good Championship side, and we're not miles off Bristol City, who've been as an established team and have got players who played Premiership, etc. I thought we scuffed them, to be honest, for large periods of the game, and we could have been 2 or 3 up first half quite easily, by a great save from the keeper. from Godden's chance. It's a lot more positive than I was on Friday, where I was wanting to slam every man in his top.
Absolutely, Glenn. Good to have you with us again on SkyBluesExtra Live. Really appreciate your input as always, mate. Thanks very much.
See you later.
Cheers, Glenn. Thanks, mate. So I know there's a few technical issues there, so apologies if you kept getting Glenn breaking up. But like you said, Tom, a just completely chalk and cheese performance from Friday, and the positivity now. We need to take this positivity into that game against Bournemouth, because it's going to be a very, very tough task to come away from the South Coast with a point next week.
Yeah, it's a really tough test. But like Glenn said, they've had some strange results this season, and a few teams have gone there and got a result. I think Rotherham might have got a result. Derby might have got a result there. So we've got to go into it looking positive, haven't we? And obviously, if we got a point there, I think it'd be a brilliant result. And then obviously, the massive Rotherham game after that. So I think we ought to play for and go there and try and nick a point. Definitely.
Absolutely. It's going to be a huge 2 weeks in the outcome of the season for the Sky Blues. Not only obviously our own results, but other teams have got games to catch up on, obviously including Rotherham, who went down to Wickham today 2-0, and Wickham have done us a favour. I mean, this season is absolutely mental. Could Wickham be the team that gets out of this crisis? Maybe we're looking at the wrong team below us.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the only thing is I think they've played 40 games, haven't they? So they haven't got many games left, really. And obviously, Sheffield Wednesday have got a couple of games in hand, and obviously Rotherham have. So, I mean, if they win every game, maybe. You never know. But they're certainly doing us. Of us. Yeah, they're certainly doing us some favours at the moment, though, which is needed.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have to rely on a few teams to get some results this season as we come towards the end, as we are now in the business end of this championship season, our first one back in the championship. Let's go back through some more comments. We've got Mark here. Watching from Australia, later here in Perth, Western Australia. Well happy with the performance today. Thought McCallum was class. He's probably had a few cans of Foster's, Mark, and he's going to go to bed. Very happy indeed. Mark, obviously, talking about the foolish back passes. A couple of times we just need to clear our lines. Don't worry about passing it around, etc. Josh, the Dean and Tom curse lifted. Great 3 points. Happy Easter Monday. Or good to have you with us, Josh. And yet our curse is finally broken. We've got loads of comments coming in. I'm just kind of losing my place. We've got so many comments. Michael Hickey, more fights shown today. Kelly made a big difference. Which we've beat around that. We beat this drum every time with Liam Kelly. My Liam Kelly pajamas are in the wash, unfortunately, so I can't put them on this evening. But he does make a brilliant difference to the side. He's so calm and astute, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he really is. I mean, I think if you look at the stats over the season, we've picked up a lot of points with him in the side, haven't we? And when we struggled when he was out, so he makes a massive difference to the team.
Let's carry on here. Andy Gray, not the Andy Gray, as we always say, but that's a bit more like it, fellas. Thought the boys were immense to a man. Josh Pass was superb at centre half, and I thought Eccles was terrific, especially for first start and playing out position. Let's hope we can kick on and maintain the standard for the rest of the season. Absolutely. Scott, yes, City fought and had a touch of quality. Garquerez has been underutilised. Well done all. Do you think, I mean, Glenn mentioned it as well, didn't he? But do you think Garquerez has been underutilised and maybe he deserves a bit of a run in the side?
I don't know, really. I think I think his role at the club was obviously to fill in, wasn't it, when Godden and Walker were out in sort of January, February time. But I think Glenn made a point about, protecting Godden, and Bournemouth's a game where a point would be a great result. Not that we shouldn't necessarily sit back or anything like that, but I think possibly Gyökeres could be a good option to start alongside Walker at Bournemouth and sort of protect Godden for that crucial Rotherham game. So, I just think it's a case of the fact that Godden and Walker are back in and Gyökeres hasn't had as much game time as before. That's all really.
Absolutely. A lot of people talking about, obviously, Josh Eccles, Aaron, back with us next gem off the academy conveyor belt. It says a lot about our academy, doesn't it? I mean, Thompson as well. I rave about Thompson all the time.
Thompson.
He's not in the side yet, but next season I think he'll be in and around the fold, along with Wilbur Parger as well as Burrows, as Blaine Rowe. There's a huge amount of talent now slowly coming through into the first team, and Josh Eccles obviously along with that. And
it's harder for them to get into the team, isn't it? Because we're in the championship. I think the League Two and League One seasons, like obviously, players like Shipley could break through and they'd be, decent assets in the team. I think it's just got that little bit harder, hasn't it, for them to break through? But it's nice to see Eccles getting that chance, and hopefully he can get a bit of a run in the side possibly, and yeah, be a key player.
Let's have a look at the starting lineup today. Obviously, all change. I think it was 6 or 7 changes from Friday. There was obviously a lot of talk. Was it going to be a diamond with Eccles in there in the middle and playing 4 at the back? But stayed with that sort of wing back formation, and it definitely worked, didn't it? It's sort of, their wingers are well known for being tricky, and having that extra protection now on the wings was vital today, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't think they offered much, really, did they? To be honest, Bristol City. But no, I thought we got it spot on in terms of the team. Thought the midfield worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah,
like we said about O'Hare, sort of carrying it forwards.
He even dropped back at times, didn't he, Callum? And did a lot of work. I mean, his tackling, the kilometres he must go through and in a match. I'd love to see the stats and how much he actually runs, because it must be off the charts. I mean, it's like Ji-sung Park with his 3 lungs, isn't he? Unbelievable.
Yeah. No, his work rate's unbelievable. No, I was really, really impressed with him today. Made a huge difference.
And obviously, there was quite a big omission on the bench. Dom Hyam straight out of the starting 11 and straight out the squad. I mean, we don't really know what's happened there. Glenn alluded to maybe some personal problems. We don't know if he was just dropped out the side completely. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, Dom Hyam hasn't been particularly great, has he this year, which is sad, really, because he's been an outstanding part of this team as we've come up from League Two.
Yeah, I mean, you'd imagine, if it was a performance thing, then you'd think he'd probably be on the bench, really. So it's maybe something. I haven't really heard much, to be honest. So don't know if it's an injury or, like Glenn said, something's happened or whatever. But hopefully everything's all right with him.
Fingers crossed. We've got another guy waiting in the wings. It's Glenn, not Sven, who wants to come onto the show. I think it's your first appearance, Glenn, isn't it?
It's my first with yourself, but I've done a couple with the reserve team.
Oh, who's on the reserve list? Dave and Tom, is it?
It was Dave, yeah. It was Roby. Yeah. I'm joking. It was
it's good to have you with us. I mean, you must be buzzing, mate. I mean, what's your thoughts on today's result?
Can I just come back to that in a second? I think this is the first time you've done a live since Wardy's amazing efforts with the season tickets.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it is.
So
yeah. Go on.
From everyone that's going to benefit from that, Wardy, thank you so much for that really great gesture. I think actually it's a touch of class, and again, you didn't have to do that. And I think the people that are going to get the season tickets are going to be thankful to you. So well done, mate. Really.
God, you're making him blush. Look, you're making him blush. He's got all red.
Yeah.
Cheers, Glenn, mate. Appreciate that.
But I think it fits with kind of what the club's about, though. So today's performance was what we all wanted, and I think that's the sort of performance you want to see at the Rico next season as well. So it's one of those where today was needed because we couldn't have sunk much lower than Friday. So what the biggest takeaway for me was Robbins is pragmatic. I was really worried that he was not able to actually see that he was getting it wrong, and he proved to all of us today. I'm not afraid to, like I said, Dino on Twitter, wield the axe, cut a few dead wood out of the team, and give a couple of keen players a real good go. So it was a really impressive performance.
It felt like a sort of a Sky Blues Twitter 11 today, wasn't it? Everyone had been having their opinions over the weekend, and that's what came to fruition, obviously, in this selection. Was there any standouts for you?
So I've got a bit of an analogy, if you don't mind me.
I love an analogy. Here we go.
So Sunday League football, you've always got the awards at the end of the season. There's always Clubman. There's always the Clubman Award. And I think Pask has got to be the Clubman Award. Literally, stick me wherever you want, Gaffer. I'll play wherever. A right footer at left centre back. He looked so accomplished today. It was just an absolute joy to watch him at the back.
Absolutely. And Cullen obviously is making that comment as well. Pask class today, considering he was on his way out the club. He's fought for his place. I mean, yeah, he's a great utility man, isn't he? Like you just said there, he can play sort of anywhere along that back line. And every squad needs one of those.
Yeah, by extension, if you look at Eccles, I think he's probably young, mouldable to any position, but you just want someone that is prepared to basically follow tactical instruction. If you watched Eccles throughout the game, he was basically looking over at Vivas saying, where do you want me now? Whereas Da Costa, he feels very much like a maverick and I'll just go wherever I fancy. Whereas Eccles, I think he knows I'm getting a bit of a chance here. I'm going to take all the guidance I get. So, yeah, 2 real standout performances from people that are probably back in December. He was in Gillingham, wasn't he? I think in December.
Yeah.
So it's a huge turnout for him. So fair play to him.
What about the Fad's mistake? I know you were quite critical on Twitter of that mistake. And obviously Sven, said before that he was putting that down to James not clearing his lines rather than Fad's. What's your thoughts on that?
It's tricky because I think for both of them, they're both very, very decent championship players, but both of them haven't got age on their side. And I think when they both get found out, they tend to make quite rash, quite quick decisions. And I think what's difficult with Fads for me is I got a load of stick for this the other day, but I don't like having people that can be so good, but then when they're bad, they are really bad. And it's worrying me because what you find with Fads is he'll play a good 80, then the mistake he makes is either a red card, a penalty, or a goal. And that's really worrying.
Yeah. And obviously going forward, we talked about the performance Friday. We needed a bit of heart, determination, passion. Do you think they showed that today, that, we've got enough in this squad, the belief to go forward and stay away from that relegation zone?
Well, like Wardy says, it works out to about a point a game. So if you take away QPR this game, then in theory, Bournemouth would be a free hit. I don't want to think of it as a free hit, but if we kind of don't get a result there, today's win almost kind of gives us that leeway. But ultimately, Wickham have done us a massive favour. Let's hope they're out of it, because who knows, a couple of wins and they're right back in the mix. But they are quietly going along the way and disrupting us. I think they've actually got, I'm not sure if it's Birmingham or Huddersfield, but they've got a couple of other teams around us that they could bring right into the fold again. So actually, we could do with a couple of other teams almost doing us a favour. I know we don't want to rely on that, but it's one of those where on their day, if teams are on the beach like Bristol City were today, you've got to hope that the teams below us could drag a few teams in around us.
Well, hopefully it's a beach that's on the green list that Boris is just announcing now. But Glenn, brilliant to have your thoughts. Hopefully it's not the last we hear from you this season.
Take care, gents. Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much. All right. But one thing I do want to sort of pick up on there is his chat on, certain individuals not sort of stepping up to the plate, and when they have a bad game, they have a really, really bad game. I don't think there was really anybody on the pitch today in Sky Blue that really had a bad game.
No,
I wouldn't say.
No, I wouldn't say so. It's hard to pick someone who had a bad game, really. Like even Fads, as we said, made that mistake, but he didn't have a bad game overall, did he? So no, it was an all round sort of solid team performance, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I want to talk about a couple of the big moments before we go into a couple more comments. But it was the perfect start, wasn't it, for the City? A lovely finish by Ostergaard. It seemed to take forever as soon as he hit his foot to sort of go over the line, but it came from a long throw. And I know, we've had Joey on the show numerous times this year, and he was talking about why we're not utilising this long throw. And it showed today. It caused absolute chaos in there, and we got a goal from it.
Yeah, I'm a massive advocate of the long throws. I think it just causes havoc, doesn't it? Because you're so sort of trained on how to defend corners, but the throws are just slightly different, aren't they? They're quite awkward. And it's come out to Ostergaard, and it's a lovely finish, really. I know it was technically his first goal of the season, but but he's had that sort of almost that poacher's like aspect to his game the whole season, hasn't he? Even though he hasn't actually scored, you sensed he was going to get one at some point. So I'm really pleased for him, And we all seem to score quite early on, don't we, at St Andrews?
And it really set the game up well, because we controlled it then for a big period of that first half, and we had a great chance, wasn't it, from Matty Godden? Brilliant control, brilliant first touch around the defender, but an unbelievable save, one of the best saves of the season, I think, against us. And O'Hare was there with a follow-up, and that was brilliant work.
Winning the ball back,
But 1-0 at that stage was probably less than what we deserve. I thought we should have been 2 or 3-0 up.
Easily could have been 2-0 up at half time. It was a really good effort by Godden. Did everything right, really. But the keepers just got down. They're the hardest saves to make, just getting down and sort of tipping it. And then great desire by O'Hare to win it back and have another go on his left foot. Really unlucky not to be 2-0 up, that was.
And that was a big plus point from if you look at last season, the way Godden and O'Hare played, it was the tenacity, the fight, the determination to try and win that second ball. And that's what we got a lot of goals from last year as well, picking up second balls. It wasn't just a nice tiki-taka football for League One standard. It was that little bit of determination as well. And we need to get that back into our game.
Yeah, 100%.
And the penalty, obviously, we went 2-0 with the penalty. It was brilliant from Tyler Walker to win that penalty. Or was it Kyle Walker? I'm not quite sure.
I think he called him Callum Walker at one point as well.
I think Oggy seems to think we've signed the 300 grand a week Kyle Walker from Man City. But
stick him up front.
Yeah, but very, very clever, wasn't it, from Walker? Because it was an abysmal pass from O'Hare, to be honest, out towards him. But he's gone across, I think it was Callas. And probably made the most of it, but other teams do it against us, so why not?
Yeah, no. I mean, there was definitely contact, so it's definitely a penalty. But yeah, he went absolutely flying, didn't he? But I don't know what their player was doing. I don't know why he's doing that there, because he wasn't really anywhere near it, was he?
Very odd.
But yeah, no, great and great composure by Godden with the penalty.
I think the table has now been updated. So let's see if I can share it on the screen. Can you see that? There we go. Is that right? Is it 39 games we played? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it looks a little bit more healthier this evening. 7 points clear of that drop zone. Obviously, one of those key games in hand is against Rotherham, and you kind of think if the Sky Blues can pick up at least a point from that game, if not 3. That would be the sort of the safety net we need. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I mean, looking at the table, it just shows you how big today was.
Yeah,
Birmingham obviously didn't play, but if Rotherham had got something today and we hadn't, then it would have been very squeaky bum time. So no, it's looking a lot better. I still think that Rotherham game is absolutely massive, and it's away from home, and we haven't been as good away. But like you say, as long as we don't lose it, I think that's the key thing. Because I still think there's a couple of games we can win towards the end of the season.
Especially those home games. You look at you got the Millwall game, Preston, and Stoke. All 3 of those games are winnable at home.
Yeah,
they're not 3 teams that are notoriously for winning away from home as well. So they're 3 winnable games. It could be a lot more rosier come the end of the season.
Yeah.
It could be a comfortable.
And also,
you just don't know, do you?
Like the point Glenn made about the teams sort of not having anything to play for as well. I think that's going to be key as well in this sort of weird season that's been very very long. A lot of games week in, week out, no crowds in the stadiums. There's going to be teams that will just be like, thank God we're safe or whatever, and they'll be a bit more relaxed, hopefully, and that could help us as well. Hopefully,
hopefully. One thing I was looking at is that the amount of draws we've had, 12 draws this season, which, looking at the bottom 3, it's a very, very different to those 3 teams. You just kind of think to yourself, you look back at some games and go, there's 2 or 3 games there we could have probably picked up another 2 points from those matches, and we could be in a much more healthy position. And that's been the real disappointing thing for me this season, I think, so far, is that we haven't sort of manipulated some of those results into positives for us rather than negatives.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I think you put a lot of emphasis on like nicking a point, getting a point here and there is a good result, but wins count for so much more, don't they? Like, they're really what move you up the table. And you look at some of the teams that are safe now. They've won a good amount of games, and that's something that we'll probably be looking at next season, obviously, if we stay up.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got loads of comments still coming in, so let's rattle through those as quickly as we can. Ken Stewart, fantastic performance today, great battling performance. Shame about the mistake from Fazza. I don't think I've ever heard him called Fazza.
Interesting one.
There we go. They get that in your shirt. But we didn't look in any danger, to be honest. We need to continue like this now in all the remaining games and have a strong finish to the season. Charles Oakes, good to have you with us. Charles, players playing for the badge. What a difference. Great performance. Play up the Sky Blues. Tom's mum's on board again. Big relief today. We can do this. Good. I see no reason why we can't. That's for sure. As long as we put in those performances like today. The Sky Blue Zone. Check him out on YouTube. Some really good content from him. Yes, lads. Quickly popping in, but what a win. Absolutely. Russ is saying, take the boost from today forward into that Bournemouth game. No expectations for success, so let's press them and have the same desire going forward. Where we a lot of people saying thank you, Tom, for the season tickets. Great gesture, really good gesture from Tom getting involved with the season ticket, and obviously you can get involved in that as well. Any contribution really does help those less privileged people who can't afford season tickets for one reason or another. Helps to get them into the Rico and to back the Sky Blues, because that's all we want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The Sky Blues to be backed to the hill, basically. Keith Ray, great to watch today. Hopefully Matty's okay and we can keep the same lineup till the end of the season. Playing together can only help. Play up Sky Blues City till I die. Cody is jumping in on the Eccles chat. Great class from Eccles too. Incredible start for him to work well with the rest of the group from the start. Also massive boost in confidence going from this game for the whole squad. I don't think that could be underestimated, can it, Tom? Really, how much the confidence can take on, and I know we talked about it against that Brentford game, and that should have really spurred us on from that point. And we went downhill. What we need to do is make sure that we don't do what we did after that Brentford game.
100%. That's what Robbins needs to be working on now. This is an absolutely brilliant win and a boost of confidence, but we absolutely have to carry it into our next few games now. There's no good losing the next 2 games after this, because we'll be right back where we were. We've really got to carry it through, and like we said, go all at Bournemouth next week, because a point would be great, and then the showdown at Rotherham.
How do you see that game sort of panning out next week? I mean, Bournemouth are a really good side, some fantastic players. I mean, a couple of their players are probably worth the whole of our squad. In theory. So it's going to be a really tough ask to go to the South Coast and pick up something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really hard game. Like, let's be honest, it's a really tough one. We're not expected to get anything at all, I don't think. But you just never know, really. Go there and play our stuff, play confidently. There's a bit of pressure on them as well. They kind of have to win to stay in the playoff hunt. You just never know, do you?
You never know. And what we'll do is we'll wrap that up for today on SkyBluesExtra Live, because it is a bank holiday. So I'll let you enjoy your bank holiday, Tom. A pleasure as always to have you on with me.
Cheers, mate.
For SkyBluesExtra Live, sponsored by Shortland Horn, Coventry's leading estate agents. We'll be back obviously on Saturday after the Bournemouth game. And this week's podcast will also be released in midweek for you to listen out to, which will have a review of Friday's game and obviously the fantastic result for the Sky Blues today. 3-1 winners against Bristol City at home at Fortress St Andrews. It's not our home for much longer, but for now, it's our home. And that's all that's left to say is play up Sky Blues.